So this is video 1 for section 3 or question 3 that focuses on life and death. So the first topic is all to do with creation and then caring for the world, which is what you find in this summary video. So why do Catholics believe that God created the world? So if you ask to describe or explain this, whatever it is, right, that if you were told, it was called the first things first is that is in the Bible. We're in the creation story. Done, easy peasy, excellent high-low, jobs are good done. Next one, okay, is that there is evidence that the world has been designed and that there's things like cliffs and sunsets, all this sort of beauty of nature, right, that suggests that, well, there must have been a designer and God's the best explanation for this because he's omnipotent, omnibenevolent, etc., etc. It was called another reason why it was called Catholics believe God created the world is because you would say that the fact there's links between religious and scientific explanations. So, for example, the Big Bang Theory. The first thing that God created in the creation story is, well, the first thing he said was, let there be light, which would have been a byproduct of the Big Bang, like an explosion, like a firework, light given off. So that's one of the correlations. The next thing is that why they believe that God created the world is because of causation. They believe that everything in the world has a cause or is an effect of a cause. So the world itself needs a cause. God's the best explanation for this. Why? Because he's omnipotent, omniscient, yada, yada, yada. Okay, and the final one, if it's a described question, that you can say the fact that Catholics believe that what's called God created the world because it's in what's called the Apostles' Creed, which is a summary of all of our core beliefs. So, for example, it states, "I believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, the Creator of heaven and earth." So that's why they believe God created the world. Now, if you get asked to explain this, and all you do is you focus on those key points, all right? Now, when it comes to the Jewish point of view, it's exactly the same, okay? It's exactly the same, but really make sure you focus on Genesis, and you say it comes from the Torah rather than the Old Testament. That's vital, okay? The other ones that you can say that what's called is also, you can then get to design. So whichever ones you haven't used for Catholics, you can use for Jews, okay? As simple as that. Now, obviously there's an alternative to this, and it's about scientific explanations. So if you get asked, right, I don't know, whether it be an evaluation question on this topic, all right, God didn't create the world, discuss, okay, that type of thing, then you're going to need to know scientific explanations. And easy peasy, God didn't create the world, it was the Big Bang. It happened as a result of an explosion, okay, essentially where particles came together, all right, and there's no place, scientists find no place for God within this, okay? You can also say about the fact that to do with human life, all right, what's called with the human life, you can say the fact that they believe in evolution. So you say that we evolved, and it isn't that God created us, Adam and Eve, etc., okay, that's to do with evolution. Now, there's two other sort of points you can use to sort of argue back against scientific views, but you can also use these in your answer to describe Catholic views on creation, okay? So, the first one is that Catholics believe that when it comes to the Big Bang, you can believe in both the Big Bang and religious explanations. Why? For the reasons I gave earlier about the fact that God said, let there be light on the first day, and when the Big Bang happened, one of the sort of byproducts would have been light. There's a link between the two. The other thing there's a link between is evolution, okay? So the order in which life is created in the creation story, okay, reflects the order that life is, what's called life evolved. And therefore, Catholics would say that God designed us to evolve. Now, the key word for that is that you would say planned evolution. Okay? Cool. Now then, you could be asked then, all right, that links to this about why Catholics and Jews care for the world. All right? So, if you do get asked this, again, simple, straightforward stuff, okay, nothing sort of complex here, that you can say that Catholics care for the world, all right, because God created it for us, all right, so we should look after it, that type of thing, okay, so we should look after the world and other human beings, that type of stuff, right, so that's the first one, the fact that God created it, okay, God created life, God created the universe, we got to look after it. The second one is that he put us in charge. God gave us dominion over the world. Okay, so that's the next key point, and a quote to sort of back that up. All right, you could say something like that. It says that they may rule over all. Okay, that's the quote to back it up. He also made us stewards of the world, and as stewards, that just means we have to look after the world. All right, you should say about the fact that the world gives us everything we need to survive. Okay, so the fact that the world provides for us, well, pretty straightforward stuff. Again, you can say that we should look after it then, so that we can do it. And you can use the quotation here about how Jesus said, "Oh, God provides for the animals. Obviously, He will provide for us as well." That's a paraphrase of a quote. Then sort of finally, another sort of thing, not just that we should care for the world, but we should care for the people within the world. Why? Because we'd all be made in the image and likeness of God, blah, 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 blah. So, Catholics believe we should look after human life also. So that's the Catholic view, all right? Now, you could be asked to explain this, obviously, and if you are, you just pick some of those points. When it comes to the therefore, tell me they put those beliefs into practice, okay? So when it comes to caring for other people, you can say about fulfills their social and pastoral roles, supporting CAFA, that sort of stuff. You can say that they support doing, like, I don't know, things that are like the campaign against deforestation and against global warming, etc., etc. All right, Jewish views, very similar, okay, very similar, but based around different teachings. So the first one is that you would say, remember, you only need to remember two, okay, because it's the Jewish section. So they believe you should care for the world because it was created by God. And this is in Genesis, all right? So therefore, they care for all the people and the world itself. They fulfill all the stewards, have dominion, blah, blah, blah. The second one is linked to those different teachings. So for example, the sort of key one said that Jews believe that they should care for the world, they shouldn't damage it, and they should fix anything that's wrong with us. And this is linked to sort of the teachings of Bal Tashit, Gemelit Hasadem, and Tikkun Olam. Okay, so therefore Jews, what's called one of the ways in which they sort of do this is that when there's issues in the world, so that could be with like starvation or people in the developing world, they support charities like Tzedek. Okay, and you could also say that they have Tu B'Shevet, where they plant trees to sort of replace what's called trees where they've been cut down, that sort of thing. It's like a festival for them, all right? So you can talk about both those things. If you're really struggling, just say, therefore, Jews care for other people, support charities that help others, that sort of thing. Now, if you get sort of like, when it comes to an evaluation question about whether all people should care for the world, then the type of things that you can focus on here, when it comes to humanists, they are concerned with two major things, okay? One is human welfare, and the other one is the fact that they should, well, that's sort of the main one. Let's just focus on the one for this point, right? That they believe that we should, it was called that, human welfare, and they believe YOLO, you should only live once, so therefore you should look after your life, you should make the most of it, that sort of thing, okay? That's sort of straightforward. So what they do, they support a charity called Humanists for a Better World. Now when it comes to like the alternative, why we shouldn't care for the world, lots of different answers here. The fact we've been given free will, the fact that some people don't necessarily sort of care about the world. Some people say it's difficult to care for the world, so like recycling and using sort of like environmentally friendly stuff, that's a challenge to do, it's expensive, it means all that type of stuff, all right? You can also say that there's no consequences to their actions if they're non-religious people. They believe this is the one life, there's no afterlife, there's no God, so it doesn't really matter how they treat the world. So that sort of summarises the Jewish and Catholic views on creation, and then caring for the world from a Jewish, Catholic, humanist perspective, okay? And also then sort of the alternative argument why we shouldn't care for the world.